r/AskReddit. What's a commonly known fact that's completely false? The Great Wall of China is the only man-made object you can see from space. No, you can't. It's like 30 foot wide. But you can see the moon. It's made of cheese, so it has to be man-made, right? I thought the moon was a hollow alien outpost. Someone needs to sort this out. Slit pupils mean a snake is venomous. The shape of the pupils is based on if they're nocturnal or diurnal. Walks up to cobra and looks it in the eye. We're all good here. It has round pupils. If they're enlarged, it means it's in love with you. Even if there are hot singles in your area, they don't want to meet you. Waiting time before you can report someone missing to the police. Edit. Thank you for the silver. First time silver and I really appreciate it. Along with this, the best chance of finding someone alive, especially children, is within 3 hours of them being missing, and this only lowers the longer they are gone. And after 72 hours it is almost guaranteed that the police will be looking for a dead body. I was so glad when the movie Searching didn't perpetuate this lie. That we need to detox our bodies. There's this whole fad of detox juice cleanses and detox workout regimens, while in reality, all we need to detox is to not become completely dehydrated. What's also peculiar is that these people who say we should detox our bodies never specify what toxins we need to cleanse ourselves from. My favorite quote on this: your organs remove toxins from your body. If one of them quits working, a kale smoothie isn't going to help. Worst detox scam I've seen yet? Those foot baths that are supposed to detox you through your feet. If that doesn't set off your BS alarm, nothing will. The water fills up with lumpy brown gunk and horrifies people into buying these things. But guess what? It's rust. An electric current running through the compounds in the water causes iron to rapidly oxidize and precipitate, giving the effect of scary toxins to the gullible. That goldfish have a 3-second memory. They actually have a memory span that lasts for months. They're also quite intelligent fish. You can even teach them tricks. Shit, this makes the idea of keeping them in a tiny bowl for all their lives so horrifying. I think that's how it started. In order to sell goldfish in tiny bags, like at fairgrounds, the 3-second memory was made up so people didn't feel bad about winning them. Tilt your head back when you have a bloody nose. You actually want to tilt it forward and pinch your nose. As someone who had hundreds, possibly thousands, of nosebleeds throughout childhood, just tissue walrus that beach and get back to whatever you were doing. Yes, but also I hate pulling out the clot when you pull out the tissue. Einstein never failed math. In fact, when he was shown a clipping from Ripley's Believe It or Not, where this fact originated, he said, "I never failed in mathematics. Before I was 15 I had mastered differential and integral calculus source." The origin to this is actually quite funny. I have heard this fact a lot as well. To be fair, the biographer made an honest mistake, since Germany and Switzerland share the same grading system. Numbers from 1-6. But in Germany 6 is the worst grade, whereas in Switzerland, where Einstein went to school, 6 was the best possible mark. So it really was just bad luck for the biographer, since he was only familiar with the German version of this grading system. Reminds me of a story of my older brother and our grandma, when he got the final grades for his first school year, all 5 and 6, and showed it our grandma proudly. She gave him a smack and yelled at him not to be proud of these bad grades and he should be ashamed. My parents had to explain to her how grades are in Switzerland XD. Lightning never strikes twice in the same place. In fact, it does, and frequently. Cough lightning rods cough. Too bad for the guy who got struck 7 times during his life. Can't remember his name. Edit. His name was Roy Sullivan. Myth. Cracking knuckles causes arthritis. Has not been proven. Edit. More info and a video apps. Yao2. BN3IMD6D4. Why cracking knuckles actually forms a bubble, rather than popping built-up gas bubbles, which is what is commonly thought to happen. There was a study, a guy was told this and so he only cracked the left hand, and after like 40 years it showed no additional signs of arthritis. Imagine the willpower of limiting yourself to only cracking knuckles on one hand. That identical twins run in families. Only fraternal twins can run in families, and that's only because some women are known to hyperovulate. causing 2 eggs to be released at once. That can sometimes run in families, but identical twins are an anomaly. Correct if I'm wrong. Identical twins are one baby that somehow splits in 2, while fraternal twins are 2 babies conceived at the same time. One fertilized egg that splits versus multiple eggs released and fertilized. Alcohol doesn't really warm you up. It increases small vessel circulation so you feel warmer, but really it decreases the overall body temperature. That the Europeans thought the earth was flat when Columbus took to the sea and discovered America. The ancient Greeks calculated the circumference of the earth 500 BC. It goes deeper. People knew how big the earth was because the Greeks were mathematical rockstars. People knew that Columbus couldn't possibly carry enough food to make it. Dumbus Chris was all nut up. I can totally make it. If he hadn't run into the New World, he would not have made it. Actually, Columbus used numbers that were newer and said that the earth would be much smaller than the old Greeks had found out. Unfortunately for him, newer does not mean better. That lemmings commit mass suicide. It was just a weird lie Disney made up for a film they made, and they essentially just tossed a bunch of lemmings off a cliff and told people they just kill themselves. Disney didn't actually make it up. They just popularized it. They threw the lemmings off the cliff when they couldn't get any footage of it actually happening. What movie was that? We eat IDK how many spiders in our sleeps every year? Did you know the average human being swallows 8 pounds of spiders every second while sleeping? No wonder I am so full in the morning. Hair grows back thicker when you shave it. I believe this is because our hairs are uneven lengths, but when you shave an area the hairs there grow back at the same length, which makes it appear thicker. Exactly, and also each hair itself tends to be thinner toward the end. So when you shave a hair, the part that begins to grow back is the diameter of the thicker strand, like the base or stump of a tree versus a tree trunk much further and higher up as it thins out. Who Let the Dogs Out was about ugly women in the club. Wrong, it's about unwelcome men hitting on women. Google it. The singer has said so in multiple interviews. Whoa, I seriously thought this was about actual dogs being let out of the house. Infuriating when guests do that. I mean, the actual music video doesn't help either. Bats are blind. You can tell bats are not blind, because if you have ever looked at one, it looks back at you, with its eyes, that it uses to see. CGP Grey. One of my favorite bat facts is that, for most Myotis species, they are all flying around constantly screaming for echolocation purposes. Imagine how annoying and confusing that would be if not just yourself, but all of your bat friends are constantly going off while flying through the night. So to compensate, they're able to change the shape of their ears faster than we blink and only take in the necessary information from their echolocation pulses. Blood is blue but turns red when it hits oxygen. Nope. The blue color you see under your skin has to do with your veins, not the color of your blood. Your blood is always going to be a shade of red. Fun fact about that, your veins actually reflect more red than blue light, but they reflect less red than the skin around it. Your brain sees this as blue. It's similar to those chessboards with a shadow where some shades appear much darker or lighter even though they're the same color. People actually believe that? Don't people know blood transports oxygen? Bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly is a complete lie. They do fly, so that's the first clue. Big if true. Most instances of human contact with a wild, young animal will not cause a mother to abandon it. There are a litany of other reasons why you shouldn't touch wildlife. Maybe how the myth started in the first place. That is interesting. That is one I always believed, but it makes sense. I am pretty sure if you picked up a bear cub, the mama would come get it. I think there are very few scenarios where you should be picking up a bear cub anyway. LOL. I think the myth started with baby birds being touched and mothers abandoning them because of human scent. Which is silly, because birds can't really smell anything. It has been applied to deer fawns as well, which is mostly false. Like I said, there are tons of other reasons you shouldn't touch a baby deer. Diamonds are expensive because they are rare. Bullshit. An explanation that I found interesting. In the 1800s, A veritable diamond trove was unearthed in Kimberley, South Africa. This newfound mine had the potential to flood the market with diamonds and bring down the cost for the precious stone. To prevent too many diamonds from hitting the market, De Beers quickly intervened, bought up the mine and maintained tight control over the global diamond supply. De Beers released only enough diamonds to meet annual demand. This gave the illusion that diamonds were exceedingly rare. In turn, the seemingly limited supply inflated the cost of diamonds. Throughout the 19th century, De Beers effectively maintained a monopoly on the global diamond mines. The cartel would stockpile diamonds, limit supply, and drive up demand and costs. De Beers also began an aggressive marketing campaign to promote diamond engagement rings. The brand pushed out the long-standing tradition of ruby and sapphire engagement ring and replaced it with an overwhelming demand for diamond rings. This fever-pitch demand, coupled with the De Beers controlled limited release of diamonds, increased the overall cost of diamonds. Around the fall of the Soviet Union, the Russian mob basically strong-armed De Beers into buying a duck-ton of diamonds mined in Siberia. They could have flooded the market. And you know those chocolate diamonds? Yep, they have been sitting around in a vault and thought if as unsellable. But through the miracle of marketing, they were popular for a while. That humans only use 10% of our brains. That's just a misquotation of an actual fact though. It's supposed to be only 10% of humans use their brains. With the addendum but not all of the time and not all at the same time. You can feel specific tastes only on the specific parts of the tongue. That is, sweet on the tip, sour on the sides, etc. They teach this in medical school still, and that's because there is a gradient of different taste receptors on different parts of the tongue. It's not a hard line, though. Just the tip. Daddy long legs do not carry the most potent venom in the spider kingdom and just don't use it. They don't cause severe harm in humans because their fangs are too weak or too small to puncture skin either. They don't harm people because they're a basic ass spider. Source: https://en Wikipedia. Org wiki falsity. Sorry for weird format. IDK if this is a common myth for everyone. But it's such a silly fact here in the deep south that it drives me nuts. Edit. Wow. I did not expect for this to blow up. Thank you for all the comments and upvotes. : Also, the creatures that many people identify as daddy long legs are not spiders at all. See Harvestman. See Harvestman. No, I don't think I will. Carrots don't improve your vision. That's the Brits lying to World War II Germans. And now you. Edit. Also the T-swilling badasses had super secret radar and carrots are the standard wartime diversion tactic. Thank you for the refresher. Reddit. My memory was fuzzy on the particulars. Edit. Also Brits needed to eat more rabbit food so propaganda. Vitamin A deficiency can harm eyesight and cause blindness. And carrots contain vitamin A, so they don't improve your vision. But they are one of many sources of something a lack of which would cause your vision to deteriorate. Which is presumably why they went with carrots for the radar cover-up rather than anything else. A lie containing a kernel of truth is much more effective than a plain lie. Thought that was a joke question. Why are carrots good for your eyes? Have you ever seen a rabbit with glasses? That it's illegal to drive barefoot. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that police actually encourage barefoot driving over driving in heels, flip-flops, etc. I've always wondered about that. On long road trips I occasionally drive barefoot and it certainly feels a hell of a lot safer than, for example, driving in heavy work boots. I only drive barefoot because I rarely wear shoes due to the weather of the place I live. Flip-flops and sandals only. Even when I do have to wear shoes, I'll take them off and drive barefoot and put them back on after I stop. It's hard to explain but driving barefoot is just so blissful. It feels like the car and I am one. That the vehicle is an extension of my body, and that I am not just the driver driving, but I am the vehicle walking. The left side of the brain is the rational one, while the right side is the creative one. It's actually more complex than that. A lot more complex. Dogs don't sweat by salivating in truth. Dogs have sweat glands all over their body. They sweat primarily through their foot pads. When they are panting, they are helping to regulate body temperature, much like we do. This is why putting their paws in cool water helps them cool down. and why they love a paddle on hot day. You have to wait 30 minutes after eating to go back into the swimming pool. Parents tell this to their children so they can have a break from being in the water. Swimming pools set this myth up to prevent people from taking their food into the water. That we only use 10% of our brain. Yep, we use a lot more of that. Using 100% of your brain at once doesn't unlock a super genius. That's a seizure. Pee on jellyfish stings. It's actually very dangerous to do so. This is because when jellyfish sting there are tiny harpoon type structures that impale you and will typically stick in your skin. So there can be thousands of tiny cuts on your skin, which should be self-explanatory as to why you shouldn't pee on it. The proper thing to do is thoroughly clean it and wrap it, and depending on the jellyfish, go to the AskReddit. Do not pour fresh water on it either. This can cause more harpoons to be fired into you and venom to be released. Urine is not sterile. Urine also irritates the harpoons and cause them to release more venom into your skin. You should first remove the jellyfish safely and slowly and place it back into the water second. Get something like a credit card. Run salt water over the afflicted area and scrape with the card third. Seek out the lifeguard station to get help cleaning it and to get their medical opinion. Put it back in the water. After that mother ducker stings me, I wanted to die by baking in the sand. Glass is a super cooled liquid which flows very slowly, which is why windows in old churches are thicker at the bottom. You have to admire the creativity of the shitty glazier who made this one up while trying not to get run out of town, though. That cold weather causes colds. It is hot AF right now and I have the worst cold of my life. Ugh. Almost no snakes are poisonous, but plenty are venomous. Remember, if you bite it and you die, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you die, it's venomous. Aside from being a pedantic difference, that's one reason why snakes don't want to start a fight with you. They're not poisonous, so animals can, and do, eat them all the time. So when given the choice, snakes will usually want to hide rather than attack. Edit. Wording. More specific as to why snakes are hesitant to bite. It takes a lot of nutrients to replace venom and precious energy to strike. They avoid biting unless it is something they can eat, or necessary to their safety. Sometimes, venomous snakes will use a dry bite to conserve their venom. But yes, snakes are prey for a ton of animals. Their natural instinct is usually to flee or hide. That information will be very useful next time I decide to bite a snake. Germany didn't invade Russia in winter. They invaded at the earliest possible date when the spring mud had sufficiently dried out end of June. Fool, it is always winter in Russia. Wolves don't have alphas in healthy, wild packs. The guy who proved alpha theory is still trying to convince people that he was wrong after discovering that only captive wolf packs display alpha beta omega hierarchies. If I recall correctly, most wild wolf packs are basically just an extended family, so the alpha male is literally just the dad. Probably a common answer but might as well use it. Napoleon Bonaparte was a short boy. Maybe by today's standards he is on the shorter side, but back then he was around or above average height when he went into power. Or maybe before then, correct me if I'm wrong. They changed everything in France. The units of measurement, the calendar, and etc. This factoid of Napoleon's height, or really how short he was used as propaganda if I can recall. Sorry for shoddy format. On mobile. Edit. Removed quotes on factoid because I misused my quotes. I think he also made sure that his personal bodyguards were really tall and imposing, and a side effect of this was that he looked short in comparison. Also, he was called a petit caporal by his subordinates when he was in the military, but petit, besides meaning small, of course, was an affectionate term referring to him being a nice guy who didn't think of himself being above his soldiers. I know I'm late to this, but the Wikipedia list of common misconceptions is full of these. It's great reading, and my second favorite list on Wikipedia. Certain shampoos will heal or repair your split ends. It's not some magical glue that will stick your hair back together. Just get a damn trim. That spinach is really high in iron content. Some dude added a digit or omitted a decimal point. Popeye was lying. He was juicing. Water does not conduct electricity. It's impurities like salt that do. But H2O does not. Edit. Air it does but barely. The story of the Chevy Nova not selling well in South America because it translated to "it won't go." That's some excellent trolling by someone because that made it into college marketing textbooks. I mean, Nova does mean doesn't go. Sure, but suggesting that Spanish speakers wouldn't buy a car called Nova because it's spelled like Nova is like suggesting that English speakers wouldn't buy a furniture or dishware brand called Notable because it's spelled like Notable. If folks noticed it at all, it would be a momentary haha. That's weird. Anytime a British person mentions anything about gun control, it's pointed out that the number of murders using knives in the UK is off the charts, and that we should get our own house in order. Per person, the rate of murders using knives or bladed weapons is significantly higher in the USA. Gun rights advocates in the US also point to the much higher rate of violent crime in the UK as evidence that guns lower crime. The flaw is that the UK definition of violent crime includes a ton of acts that would not be counted in the FBI statistics. The weird thing about this whole post is that many of the answers are not the commonly known myth. They are instead the actual truthful corollary to the common myth, which makes it kind of confusing to the readers as to which is which. The mass cultural delusion that the sun's apparent position relative to arbitrarily defined constellations at the time of your birth somehow affects your personality. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Going out with wet hair gives you a cold. No, it doesn't. The cold virus gives a cold. That factoid means a little interesting fact. That's a factlet. A factoid is something which sounds true, but isn't. Mosquitoes aren't attracted by light. They are attracted by you who are under the light. We got that misconception by seeing other bugs flying around lights and thinking it's the same for mosquitoes. You will not get a cramp if you go swimming right after you eat. Vitamin C doesn't really work like you think it does. It's good for you, yeah, but not really helpful in fighting colds and stuff. Companies have just marketed it right. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.